Hey beautifuls, Hannah here from Reality Awareness, of course. And I am being called to do a bit of a collective reading, energy update, simply because there's a lot flying around in the energetic air, let alone the physical air. And there's so many people feeling so many things that are really called to share just a reminder that there is so much energetic stuff going on, cosmic stuff, astrological stuff, all the stuffs, and it's stirring up our internal storm. And I'm going to touch on and share over a reminder about the eclipses. There's storms, there's hurricanes, there's solar flares, there's let's not forget there's a comet flying through the air. Like, there's just a lot going on and a lot of people are feeling it. And I just want to check in about this because I've been talking about it with a lot of clients. I've been talking about it in the intuitive channel, and at this point in time I'm feeling called to check in with you guys and just that gentle reminder that there's a lot going on cosmically, and how to support yourself with it and through it, and just sort of touch on some bigger sort of, I want to say, whys or understandings about what's also going on as well. So as always, I'm just going to share this and be present with you guys whilst I'm talking and sharing things. So let me just pop this on here. Hello, welcome, hello. Okay. Now, everything that I'm about to say, I also want you to take with a grain of salt because at the end of the day, who really knows? But we have intuition and we also have things that we know to be true in the world, etc. So I'll just grab these, bring these comments up here. Okay. So what we're going to touch in about is a reminder that if you've been feeling cray-cray, if you've been up and down, if you've been 1 minute happy, 1 minute sad, and then all over the shop, and then not sure if you're Arthur or Martha, or feeling direction, and then you feel lost. And I just want to say, like, as we shift into a new frequency bandwidth, as the dimensions all shift, there is this, it's almost like a push-pull, but it's an expansion point, right? It's like the polarities are at their extremes. And as we sort of shift dimension, it's kind of like back and forth. Like if you imagine moving house, sure, you pack everything up and it's one move, but then you got to make sure the house gets cleaned and, you know, sort of all the, like there's so many bits and forth before you've actually fully moved and that chapter's really closed off, right? So there's a transition phase. And right now we're in a transition phase in shifting dimensional frequency, in shifting vibration, in shifting into another realm of consciousness, of awareness. Things that, like when we say like the patriarchal system has been collapsing for all these years, and it's not because, oh, the matriarchal is going to then rise and then, you know, the feminine will be in charge. It's more like now it's finding a balance, right? When the unhealthy, toxic patriarchal system is collapsing, the feminine is coming back awake, if you may. But it's not to overtake, it's just to find that balance. And as something finds its balance after a while it's been out of balance, it takes a little bit. And so this transitional phase is taking a bit, if you may. And then, yeah, there's so much going on, right? So it's like there's so much going on in your world as the collective, as I said, so exactly. And this is just a reminder that, you know, not only is like you've got your own stuff going on, like I'm sure if you're watching this and you're drawn to watching this, you've got a lot shifting for you, whether it's positive or negative, or you'll be experiencing the polarity in its extremes. There's things that you're really like, oh my God, dealing with. And then there's things that are like, wow, this is like the best time ever. Like think big, amazing things are happening, as well as like, wow, I'm dealing with so much right now, right? Like, let me know if this is how you're feeling. But this is the polarity stretch, okay? As as I always talk about, like when a solar flare comes, I always describe it as like the energy or the flare itself, or the energetic resonance of the sun, like that, it burns through our system, it burns through our aura, and it's like it pulls out our trauma or pulls out all the crap like a sieve, yeah, like a sieve where we rinse the rice or the vegetables. And so, so many shifts in harmony of yuck and light. Exactly, right? We're really feeling this polarity, pull, push, pull, like, you know, energy. And as the dimensions shift, as we move house, you know, as it finds its balance again, it's going to be like that for a little while. I think until I was sort of getting the message until June next year. I was getting the message this morning when I was talking to one of my clients, and I was just like, you know, for whatever reason, is that a 9-month cycle? I think it might be 9 months birthing portal. And so when we look at, you know, like these sort of shifts, right, of all of these dimensional shifts, the ups and downs, like as you're finding your ground, what's really going on, like we have to remember that there's a hurricane going on, 2 hurricanes more. Now, whether they're man-made or not is relevant to the fact that there is interference in them. And I really want to bring this to awareness, because this is a big part of people feeling anxious, up and down, crying and howling, letting go. So whilst on a natural earth rhythm, cosmic sky rhythm, on a natural basis, it's going on. But there is man-made interference in it. And the way I described it, so the other day I was feeling fine, and then, like, you know, these sort of stormy clouds started coming over, but I felt weird, and I was looking at them and I was just like, oh, and it took me a little while to click. And it's like, as an intuitive, you can feel it, right? You can feel it when it's full of chemicals, or you can feel it when it's natural, okay? Like we, as a highly sensitive intuitive being, if you had 2 pieces of material on the cupboard, okay, and they were both white, and one was pure cotton, I don't know, pick your natural material, hemp, cotton, whatever you're gonna pick, okay? Imagine it being pure and natural. And if you were to put like a piece of polyester fiber or something down, and they were both white and they sort of looked the same, but you could feel it. Like, I guarantee, as a highly sensitive intuitive being, you would be able to feel the difference, even if you had to pick it up. Okay? And the reason I'm bringing this to your awareness is because when we're tuning into things in the world about what's going on, and there's so much conflicting things, they're saying it's all man-made or it's not, and I'm like, it's kind of both, right? It's like, yes, this is the season for it. We all know that this is a season from August through to December or longer. Like, you know, this is the season when all of this starts, whatever, why this happens, whatever, it's the season, right? And so when you're getting confused, or you're getting overwhelmed, or you're going down too many rabbit holes, or whatever your story is, it's like, can you please remind yourself that it's both, okay? And to use your senses about, you know, just like when we're sensing if it's a scammer or not, it's kind of like, you know, there's lots of scammers going on my channel at the moment, so be mindful, don't get scammed. I'll never message you. I don't have to. You contact me for a reading. You book in with me. You chase me down. I don't chase you down, okay? Just a little thing. So when we're looking at, you know, if you're getting lost in all the things, number 1, step back, take a break, go and ground yourself, okay? Being grounded is one of the fastest ways that you're going to come back to center, okay? And pull yourself out of the rabbit holes. Then you're going to tune in, like, you know, use my example, okay? Like, if there was 2 pieces of fabric on the cupboard, and one was pure organic hemp or whatever you want to choose your fabric, and one was polyester, like, you know, plastic. How can, you know, you can sense it, okay? And so when you do that with the clouds, and so the clouds coming over the other day, I was like, I could feel it, and I was like, and then I realized I was like, oh, it was like I could feel the chemicals coming over like a, I don't know, like a plastic cloud, if you may. Like, it's literally what you can feel it, okay? And so the reason I'm bringing this to your awareness is because not only is there the chemicals and the sprays and the plastics and the interference, there's also the microwave waves, okay? Through the towers, through the sonic pulsations, through the sound frequency waves, right? And they're literally like moving and controlling that. It's all come out now. There's patents and everyone's seen them and blah, blah, blah. Like, this shit's real, okay? And the reason I'm bringing this to your awareness is because it's not just man-made and it's not just natural. It's a combination of both, okay? And it's also like when we are feeling the eclipses, okay, we're still in eclipse energy, all right? It was only last week. And then we've got a full moon next week, let's not forget, okay? So let's just remember that all of this external stuff going on. Now, even though you might not be living in the USA, with the hurricanes or whatever, those frequency pulsations that they're using to amplify and or direct, okay, and make it go where they want it to go, whatever the story is, like whatever's, even though you might not be in the US, on a global level, we are going to feel it. On a realm level, we are going to feel it, okay? That frequency energy is a frequency on this planet. Now, recently, where I live, they did a lot of upgrades over winter. So in the last 3 to 6 months, they did a lot of, like power lines, power poles, replacing stuff and things like that. And I was like, okay, cool, getting upgrades, like whatever. However, I also know that they, since I've lived here in the country, they've replaced the towers, and there used to just be one little tower on the hill. I can see it in the horizon. Now there's 3, and one of them's massive. Now, just up my road, on my main road, my main dirt road, like they've replaced and upgraded power poles, right? But they've now put, where's the camera? They've now put aerials on these things. And then when we look at, like if I zoom up, for some reason there's a massive like on-off switch on here. And okay, so not only is it just just a power pole, it's also got an aerial, and it's also got an on-off switch. And just like, since when do power poles have aerials? And whatever the story is sort of irrelevant, but I want to bring it to your awareness because also these are also receivers. These are receivers and transmitters. Now, we also know that these have, they can emit frequencies. We know it on a radiation scale, just like a microwave, they already do. We know that a microwave that isn't even plugged into a wall emits radiation. Now, the chemicals in the air, in whichever means, the transmitters you hold in your hand, home, phone, hand, all of the above, plus the Wi-Fi's that you can't walk down the street without picking like 20 Wi-Fi's up, right? If you go for a search, you can find like 20 or more Wi-Fi's, okay? And then also, alongside whatever frequencies they are emitting through the speakers, as I say, because when you look at those towers around the world now, that there's been heaps in the last 4 years that have been installed everywhere, they look like speakers. Like I've said this before, like when you look at those towers, they actually look like speakers, like the big block things. You know what I'm talking about? They look like speakers. Speakers emit sound waves. Now, at different lower rates, we know that from Dr. Emoto's work with the water and the crystals, that when he said in all his studies and whatever, he played classical music and he played rock heavy metal music. And the frequent, like when they froze the water crystals and then the crystals came out either looking like a cancer cell or looking like a beautiful snowflake, depending on what it was submitted to. Now, when we say I love you or I hate you, it's the same thing. Beautiful cancer cell or a beautiful snowflake. Yes, I said beautiful cancer cell because we want to love it. Love onto it to transform it. So when we look at our physical body is made up of water. What do they say? 70 or 90%. That is why what you're thinking about yourself is so important, because you're constantly programming yourself through your thoughts and through I love you or I hate you vibrations or music or anything that you're thinking about, etc., etc., etc. Let's not even get into the food and what you ingest on a vibrational scale as well, whether it's alive, whether it's dead, whether it's chemical, whether it's organic. We could go on and on and on down the rabbit hole. The point that I'm bringing this to your awareness is that when the energies are extra heightened, like at the moment through the eclipse season, and it will be towards like through to the end of the year, okay, it's just the time of year for it. We've got Samhain at the end of the month, we've got Scorpio, like they're dark, full-on energies, okay? Plus everything that I've just been describing here, it's all like amplified. Now, if they were to turn the little switch up, now also with the solar flares and the Schumann resonance has also been really heightened lately. And when we look at Elizabeth Peru described it so amazingly one time. I heard her describe the Schumann resonance, right? It is, you'll see it, you guys seen the Schumann resonance, know what I talk about. So Schumann resonance, I'll just bring it up here. So it shows, so where it's white, that's when it's being like, you know, turned up, or there's lots of pulsation through the earth atmosphere, etc. These couple of, so this is the last 2 days, the last few days haven't been like before that. But so Elizabeth Peru described this amazingly. One time she said, you know how if you're just like in the kitchen or you're in your home or whatever, and you just got the music playing in the background, you know, and you're just doing your thing, and someone walks in, like, you know, your partner or something, and you don't realize that they walked in, and they walk in and they just crank the radio up, or they crank the sound up, the music, right? And they're like, oh shit, like, you know, and then you're just like, oh, I gotta turn it down, and you're just like on this thing. When the Schumann resonance spikes, that's what it's like. We get used to a certain frequency and vibration on Earth, and then when it's spiking, somebody's turned it up, and we're like, so everything's heightened, okay? Plus all of the transmitters, plus all of the chemicals. There's certain chemicals in the air, okay, that they're spraying for all the cloud seeding bits and whatever they're doing. Like it's just what it is. But whatever particular chemicals for whatever particular reason, I'm not a scientist, I don't know all the ins and outs, I don't know the chemicals and all the you know, when you mix stuff together, well, I don't know all the scientific stuff, but intuitively I can see it all. And so when you've got certain chemicals and then you bring in certain frequency waves, they interact in different ways to create either I hate you cells or I love you cells of the crystalline energies of Dr. Emoto's work I'm now referring to. So bringing this to deep awareness, because when there's a lot of energies flying around, whether it's now at the eclipses, whether it's in 6 months in the eclipses, whether there's a solar flare, there's a freaking comet flying through the air right now. Let's just not forget about that for a moment, shall we? We've got hurricanes that are the biggest in however long. Now, over the next 18 months to 2 years, these solar flares are supposed to increase. The energies are supposed to increase. We're getting a taste, we're getting the tip of the iceberg right now. So if there was a time for you to take care of yourself, to do that detox, to get healthy, to get fit, to stop listening to the news and all the drama shit, because honestly, it's not going to stop. It's only going to increase. And the way that you can not just get on purpose, but the way you can support yourself through it and pull humanity in the direction that we want it to go, not the way it's being directed to go, is by you taking back your power, unplugging, taking extra good care of yourself, getting fit and healthy, and focusing on your purpose. We don't change a system by trying to change a system. We change a system by building a new one and putting all our energy and focus on what we're doing, not by feeding the old. Okay, so if you've been feeling out of sorts, anxiety, up and down, crying and howling, letting go, questioning things, wanting to walk away from things, now is not the time to make decisions. Now is the time to go, that's interesting, that's interesting, that's interesting. Oh yeah, and the extra moon. Thank you, Cheryl. I forgot we've got an extra moon in there. Like the twin solar system is becoming really apparent. It's like we can't deny it anymore. You know, there's so much coming to light. Consciousness awakening means truth surfaces. You can only bury the truth for so long. Truth will always find its way back up. Light will always come back. That's what's happening as we shift into the age of Aquarius and move beyond. Okay, so if you just like, this is a reminder, like this video is like timeless, because whenever we go through these cycles over whatever periods of time, you're going to feel these energies and you're going to be knocked, question things, blah, blah, blah. And it's really, you know, and the thing is like you'll be questioning a lot of things, but it's not time to make decisions. The only decisions you make at the time when you're feeling like this is to look after yourself, is to do the inner work, is to get fit and healthy, is to make sure that everything's good and get back in a good place, and then reassess the decision. Could be in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. But right now is not the time to make decisions when all of this cosmic eclipse energy, solar flares, second moon, comets flying through the sky, hurricanes, extra microwaves being bombarded because everything's been upgraded to 5Gs around the world, right? And just because like I'm getting upgrades, like on my, you know, my aerial I showed you, like that's happened everywhere. We can see that in the last few years, everywhere, around everywhere. And whoop, see, bang. Can you hear it? Everywhere. You know, and the hurricanes and stuff, we feel that all over the atmosphere, or we feel it over the air. It's not just affecting one place. It's a bit like, you know, in our physical body, like when, you know, if one organ's suffering, it backs up the other organs, you know what I mean? Like if one thing clogs up, everything clogs up. So it's the same with the energetics, the same with our earth. Something's going on in the US, we're going to feel it everywhere. Why? Because all the currents and everything move everything around, let alone vibrational frequency, sound waves. You get the point. So just going to check these comments. Let me know if you've got any questions, because this has been like, I just been talking about it lots of my clients, ups and downs. Like some days are really good, some days are just crying, some days are really wiped with tiredness. That's when it's checking all of these different pieces, right? And this is like the depth of what I teach in Trust Intuition, because when you're trusting your intuition, when you're working on your psychic gifts, when you're learning to hone your psychic intuitive abilities, it is about sensing energy. It's about interpreting energy. And we have to be aware of all the external factors as well as our internal world, our own internal traumas and stuff, because otherwise we're just not going to know what's what. We're not going to be able to interpret our intuition or distinguish whether it's like, actually it's the sound waves, actually it's the frequency, actually it's the shadow part, actually it's the trauma from my past life. Like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like instinctively, intuitively understanding all of these different pieces and becoming extra clear and aware of all of these pieces that are going on, so that you're not making decisions out of trauma or frequency waves of what they want you to do, rather than what your soul's calling you to do to shift humanity to where we want it to be. Okay, so I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. I'm just going to check these comments, because yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's so much going on. Yeah, there's just so much. So lots of crying. Yeah, and lots of people feeling like puffy. Like, it's kind of interesting, right? You said that. Yes, that can obviously be food allergies and stuff, but a lot of allergies have also flared up with the second moon, the comet, the asteroids, the twin solar system, the solar flares amping up. Our atmosphere, our shield around our earth has become thin over the years. We know that, right? For whatever reason, whether it's man-made or cosmic made, it's become thin. That has, our protective shield around our earth is not there. It's a bit like when I talk about in Trust Intuition, I teach the different bodies in our aura. So in our aura, we have different layers of our aura and different parts, like different traumas sit in different parts and all that sort of thing. The layer closest to our skin is our etheric body. That's what keeps us healthy. And to keep that etheric body thick, right? Like thick skin. And then you've got your astral body and other layers. To keep that etheric body thick skin and healthy, okay, because that keeps your physical body healthy and it keeps your energetic body also healthy as well, is self-care, lots of time in nature, grounding, sleep, meditating, all those things combined keep you having a really thick etheric body, right? So exercise, all the things that keep you healthy. So when that etheric shield is down, that's when people get sick a lot, okay? Or if they're just naturally weak. So for example, elderly people have a naturally thin etheric body, and so do children. And so then the puffy eyes and stuff you were saying, is that, so that can be obviously eating inflammatory foods, of course, but also when like our shield on our earth is thin. So when there's asteroids, close passing comets, a second moon, solar flares, stuff coming in. Like, I noticed this probably about 2 years ago. So I've got clients all around the world, right? And I'm sitting here talking to all my clients around the world, you know, as I go through my clients for the day. And, you know, in all different locations around the world, one time on the same day, everyone's like, oh, I'm getting sick. Like, it's just weird. Like, they just noticed it. And I was like, you're in the UK, you're in New Zealand, you're in Canada. I'm like, there's something else going on here. And I knew it was cosmic. I was like, nah, this is like a collective thing. And then not long after that, I found this, I don't know, can't remember the guy's name on YouTube now, but he's got a really awesome channel. He follows a lot of the solar flares and all that sort of thing. And he was sharing, like, you know, this is 2 years ago, that back then there was it was like a red dust cloud that had come in from space. into our atmosphere. And I was like, see, I knew it wasn't like, they're not just getting sick. We feel it. And this is where, again, like in Trust Intuition, I teach all these different pieces, because people are like, oh, I'm getting sick, and they go to the doctor and they get a pill. Whereas, hang on a sec, like if you just check in, and in Trust Intuition, I've got a specific, really detailed checklist in module 1 to go through all of these facets, because to understand your intuition, or if it's cosmic, or if it's this, or if it's that, you must go through and check, right? Otherwise you're going to go to the doctor, get a pill, and then, you probably won't, but you understand what I'm trying to say. So it was like this red cosmic dust that had come in from space. And I was like, that's what made us all sick on the same day. And so when we look at, all of these different facets, it's not always man-made, and it's not always cosmic made, natural made, but we need to understand these different pieces so that if you're feeling off, or if you're feeling that, you can really start to understand what's really going on in a bigger picture, and it's not all you. Okay? So the puffy eyes, a lot of people have been feeling that lately too, like just puffy or bloated or whatever. And yes, it's foods and blah, blah, blah. Of course, we want to rule out all of that. And that's why staying healthy helps you to be more clear about, actually, no, that was a wave. Like you start to sense it straight away. I was like, nah, that's a collective. Like as soon as all my clients said that, I was like, nah, you're not sick. That's a collective thing. Here's the red dust cloud coming from space. Like, yeah, right? We're not taught this stuff in school, right? We're not taught this stuff in school at all. So yes, many intense energy and frequencies within and without, exactly right. And yes, this is where, like, strengthening your psychic abilities, strengthening your aura, your chakras, understanding all of these pieces so you know what to do to also support yourself. It's like module 1 of Trust Intuition, which, by the way, Trust Intuition is closing very soon. So just comment trust if you want the details for that. I'll pop the link in as well, because doors close tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. So you can check out that link there if you've got questions about it. Just send me a message as well. Okay. Just checking. Yeah, so you did that. They redid all your power poles in Florida too. So interesting, right? There's just been a whole earth upgrade. Like every country's doing it. It's not just us. Yep. Yeah, so many people are noticing it too. Yep. We should be taught this in school, I know, right? Exactly. Yeah, I've always said that all my work will end up being like school trainings eventually. That's my change in the world. Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting, Sophia, Suzette, you said it was only 2 days, so that made me wonder what was in the air. And this is the thing, right? Like, are you getting sick, or is it in the air? Does it go away? Is it food you ate? Like, it's just... It's so important to understand and realize. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know, if you're feeling all these things, the next sort of stage to supporting yourself is obviously, like I said, making sure your etheric body is nice and thick, taking care of yourself, exercise, healthy food, getting enough sleep, unplugging from the rabbit holes, whichever one that is, for a period of time. If you need to know something, you will be shown. If you need to be told something about what's going on in the world, you will be told. You don't have to go looking for it, okay? If you're unplugging and staying connected to true source and doing your purpose work and looking after yourself, you'll be shown what you need to know. You don't need to go looking for it. You just need to focus on your purpose, because we're creating the new world, and that's how we do it, by focusing on that. So lots of vibrational shifts. We've shifted dimension. The next 2 years are going to be intense, guys. This is not stopping anytime soon. So like I said, if there's any time to get healthy, fit, super, like, pull yourself onto purpose, unplug from rabbit holes, stop getting sucked into things, like, now is the time, because it's only going to increase over the next 2 years. And then, what was the last thing I was just going to say about that? Oh yeah. With everything going on, unplug, but also step back. So you can be up and down, but also not let it affect you. Now, this isn't about avoiding how you're feeling. Like, when I need to cry, I'm howling my eyes out, okay? Because that's how we move through it and heal. And by feeling the emotions, we don't get sick as well, but we can actually feel to heal, because any sickness is stuck emotion in the body, right? And so when you can learn to ride the waves, no matter how big the surf is. And then after a period of time, especially when you've done chunks of healing, which is what we do in Trust and Intuition, doors closed tomorrow, so just comment trust if you like details. I did pop the link in as well. When we heal and have done a lot of healing, the big riding of the wave still hits us, but we can move through it really quickly. If you're stuck in deep grief, or you're stuck in like whatever's going on, it's because it's triggered a deeper wound for you to actually heal. And that's where you use your tools to work with to heal that, which is again what we do in Trust Intuition. The more you shift these things every time you hit one, so to speak, then it just becomes like a wave rather than a stuck point where you're stuck for however long while you're dealing with all the shit that's trying to come up and out. So eclipses, these times are not time for making decisions about things like a massive career change or relationship change. Just like, I want to say oh, that's interesting information. Do the inner work, get back on track, and then reassess that question. Especially, like I said, if it's a massive life change with that. Okay. Is there anything else that I need to say? Yes. Yeah. This is just a reminder. I've just been saying it a lot to my clients and in the intuitive channel as well. So if you'd like details of intuitive channel, just comment channel below. Intuitive channel is me on Telegram. I've got my private group where I drop in daily messages and readings or whatever was to come through to support you every day as well. It's like getting a private message from me. So just comment channel if you'd like the details from that. It is a membership that you join. You get access to the full moon ceremony as well. And it is full moon ceremony almost this time next week. So be mindful that the next week we are moving up to a full moon as well, just to throw in a bit more of a mix for you. All right, I love you guys. If you've got questions, just pop them below and I shall see you soon.